I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 426. Welcome to Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello, all my dear friends all over the world. How are you today? Let me tell you about myself. I love to say that. I know it's not about me, but let me tell you a little bit about myself. In case you didn't know, I'm getting ready to go on a little trip with my dear, dear husband. We are going to this special bed and breakfast that we go to every now and then for just about 2 nights. And we get a cabin right on the river and we get away. Now, a lot of people say to me, it's an hour and a half away. Why do you even go away? I mean, it's just the two of you at home. And I want to tell you something. The difference between staying at home and going away, to me, is very different. Just a little bit about myself. And I'm wondering what you think. The difference between having a vacation at home, let's just say you're going to take 2 or 3 days off from what? That's really the question. What are you going to take a break from when you're home? Because this is what I find. As much as I love to stay home, I love my house. And as much as I love to be with my husband at home in our house, I see things that need to be done. I think of things that I would never think of if I weren't in my home. And my mind is a bit busier about what I should do, what I shouldn't do. My mind's just a little bit busier. It's talking a little bit more, and it's giving me things to do. Now, it seems very different than when I go into a different environment like this one bed and breakfast that we love to go to, where it's on the river, everything is taken care of. They even put food in the refrigerator for you. There's not a lot of thinking going on. And I don't know about you, but for me, my mind tends to slow down because in that cabin, there is nothing for me to do. So I get to spend more time just on myself and on my husband. Kind of like on the relationship without, oh, we need to do this or we need to do that, which happens a lot in our house. And I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I am saying sometimes it's nice to take a break. So even though I have a lovely, lovely life at home, in my home, with my husband, it's very, very different when I go with my husband and we're not at home anymore. Now, you can tell me what you think, but for me, it makes a big difference. So that's what I'm doing this weekend is we are going off and we are going to vacate from our busy minds and take a vacation. And I'll let you know how it goes next week. But I know if you've listened to my podcast for a little bit or a long time, before COVID, I used to go on vacations all the time. That was just my thing. I was always leaving. And after that, I found that I was sticking around my house a lot more. And since things have been changing again, at least I feel more free to travel. I find that it really makes a difference. And, it's all your perception anyway. But I like to take the things in my house out of my mind. And the best way I know how to do it is to leave my house. So I am doing that. And I think it's going to be lovely. And not only that, the anticipation of leaving is even fun. Just anticipating it. I love the feeling of anticipation. It's almost more exciting than actually doing something. So my anticipation of this trip and me doing this trip probably will be a little bit different. But right now, the joy I feel inside of my body about leaving is very high. I can feel the butterflies in my stomach and my chest. I feel like I want to float up off the air just because I'm leaving. Anticipation. I love it. Okay. So I wanted to tell you just a little bit about myself. And now I want to talk to you about how I might be able to help you in the next week. Since we are at the beginning of the summer, and I know a lot of you have a lot of ideas about what you're going to be doing this summer and a lot of perceptions about yourself. And it seems to be that a lot of people want to get in shape around summertime because they're going to be in swimming suits. Now, I don't think that's the best motivation because that means what happens when summer is over. But I think you can use summer, and I think this is a great idea. I think you can use this summer as the beginning of learning how to connect more into your body, how to have a better mind-body connection, how to become a better body whisperer. Body whisperer, meaning that you listen to the whispers of your body. You don't have to act when your body is screaming. Summer's a great time because there's probably some screaming going on about, oh no, I have to put on a swimming suit or I have to do this and my body and whatever the rhetoric is that goes on in your brain. This is a good time to start taming your brain and training this mind body of yours to get more connected. So I've come up with a challenge. I'm calling it the Thinner Peace Summer Challenge. And the challenge isn't how much weight you'll lose. The challenge is how connected can you get. Now, I think the more connected you get, the better chance you have of losing weight. It's kind of like a win-win situation. But for those of you who are in menopause and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and it's just another summer and another way of speaking to yourself in a way that doesn't make you feel good, or telling yourself, making high expectations for yourself that can't be kept. I want to start with thinking of something in 1 week that you can do that sounds kind of simple. Because this is what I think, that when you think something is easy, you have a better chance of starting. Now, I also realize that you can do hard things, and there's a lot to be said about how good it feels to do something hard. And I'm getting to that. But I'm talking about starting. And I think the easiest way to start is for you to think in your head, this will be easy for me to start. Now, this is what I think you can do this week that might be easy for you. Now, I don't know about you, but 20 or 30 years ago, when I was probably where you are now, well, maybe sooner, maybe later, but I used to think that if only I envied people that I saw who I thought were thin and they were eating unhealthy things like potato chips or something like that. And I thought to myself, my fantasy was always, I wish I could do that and be thin. And I don't know if you think like that, but I want to tell you, now that I've been thin for quite a while, the way that I eat isn't because I just want to be thin. The way that I eat is because it's the way I feel best. I've trained to feel good, and I know that what I eat affects how I feel, and it affects what I weigh. But before, it's almost like I didn't really care how I felt. I just wanted to be able to eat chips whenever I wanted and to be thin. And I thought that was the epitome. Now, if you think like that, I really want you to think about this. How would I want to eat if I didn't have to lose weight? Now, if you were like me, you might say some of the things I just said to you. But I really want you to consider this. Is that would you really, how often, how much would you really want to eat potato chips or whatever the food is of your choice that you think is going to be some kind of nirvana where you can be thin and eat it? Because here's what I know. When I would storm on potato chips, meaning I didn't have just a few, I either ate a bag or I would throw water on it or throw something on it that was unedible so I couldn't eat it. That's the only way I thought I could control potato chips. And, what I know now is that now that my mind is trained about potato chips, they have just become potato chips. I still think they taste good, but I'll tell you also what I think is that if I eat too many, I don't feel good. So now it's more of how do I want to feel more than what a great day this would be that I can just eat all the potato chips I want and not gain weight kind of a thing. Like, I think that there's a lot of thinking about what can I get away with? And you get on the scale and you might have eaten something that you didn't think that you could eat, but you found that you didn't gain any weight. And then you get real happy or excited about it. But here's the thing. I think if we start thinking more about how we're going to feel more than if only, because food is medicine in the end. And most of you know that. And most of you, if you're anything like I was, I learned a lot about eating from being on so many diets. I mean, I learned some really good things. Number one, I learned how to eat vegetables and really love them. And on some diets, that's all I could eat. But I did learn to really like them. And I like to eat vegetables. I miss them if I'm not eating them. I can't say I miss potato chips, but I do miss vegetables if I don't eat them. I can't even explain it, but it comes to a point where I just can't wait to eat them. And I think a lot in my mind is how can I get more vegetables today? Only because I know, number one, from an educated point of view, it's very, very good for me. But number two, I also feel very good when I have them in my body. It's like a win-win situation. I can't say the same thing about potato chips. But when I made peace with potato chips, and that's all about how to actually do a joy eat, potato chips in the process that I use are considered joy eats. It's a non-nutritious food. But if you can teach yourself how to mindfully eat it bite by bite, enjoy every bite and stop the minute that you're done, which is really what I like to do now and what I teach all the time. And I'm not saying I think it's an easy technique, but it's really trainable. And I only think it's that way because the way that we're connected, mind and body, when you feel some of these foods going into your body and you actually feel them as opposed to your mind telling you you shouldn't be eating them. See, when your mind goes crazy and says, you shouldn't be eating it, why are you eating it? You could eat a whole bag of potato chips like I used to and not even enjoy one potato chip. A true joy eat is when you actually know you can have the potato chips, you enjoy it bite by bite, and you stop the minute that you're done. The minute that you're through enjoying it. Big difference, a big learning curve, but also a great training. Because I want you to believe that you can eat whatever you want, be it potato chips, chocolate chip cookies, or whatever it is for you. But do you want it? And how much do you want it? And I want you to just, in your own mind, be very, very honest about how would you eat if you didn't have to lose weight? Because I think the way I used to think is I only ate a certain way when I had to lose weight, and I did not eat that way when that weight was off. I was on Weight Watchers counting points, and then as soon as the scale was down, I was back off thinking, oh, good, now I can eat whatever I want, like potato chips, whatever it is. But there was no mindfulness about any of it. It was more like, how can I gain the weight back? It's like, it's okay, my weight is off. But when you can eat the same way when you're losing weight, and it's the way you want to eat, then when you get to the weight that you want to, you're eating the way you want to so that it's not so different. The way you get there is the way you're going to stay there. It doesn't change that much. And when I got that, Listen up. It changed everything. So that's what I want you to be thinking. Number one this week is, how would I eat if I didn't have to lose weight? What would I want to be eating? How would I want to be doing it? And I want you to think about it. And then this next step that I want you to do for this week is you can get my food journals by going to debutler.com/change. And you can get food journals in there. You can get a little bit about the physical hunger scale, a lot of the things that I talk about in my first 5 podcasts. Also, you can get my roadmap that I just talked about a couple weeks ago. And my roadmap is a way of reading about the first 5 podcasts and being able to click on any of them and get to that podcast. So you can use the roadmap by going to drdebbutler.com/map, M-A-P, and you can get the map. So you can have 2 things to work with this week, the roadmap and the food journals and some of the techniques that I use in the beginning of emotional hunger scale and physical hunger scale. Now, once you have these, this is all I want you to do for this week of this challenge. Is number 1, I want you to get these food journals, download them, and print them. Then what I want you to do, you can just pretend like you're working with me. You can pretend like you hired me. Or sometimes I think when people hire me, they do the work because they paid the money. But so sometimes pretend you just paid me money to do this process, just to get you going. Now, this is how simple I want to make it for this week, because I've already asked you to do 2 things. Get the food journals and get the roadmap. But once you have them, then all I want you to do is that next time you sit down to eat, you ask yourself how hungry you are, and you write that number down in your food journal. And there will be a place for it where it will say, how hungry are you? Now, my physical hunger scale goes from a -10, which is starving, and to a +10, which is full. We are going to work on fine-tuning these numbers where we eat at a -2, realizing you could be starving at a -10. You start fine-tuning those numbers and your body together. What does a -2 feel like in my body? And then I encourage you to stop at a +2, knowing you have 8 more points that you could go up to, +10, which is stuffed. Many people have never asked themselves this question, how hungry am I and how full am I? That's all I want you to do this week, is to start recognizing these numbers, knowing that you're trying to go between the 2s. Sometimes you may, sometimes you may not. But if you complete this challenge this week, I guarantee you will have so much more awareness of what's going on inside of you. And the other part, number 3, is when you see yourself doing something you don't like, you don't beat yourself up. That's it. That's all I want you to do, is think about, how would I eat if I didn't have to lose weight? Really think about that as you're doing this challenge this week. 2, I want you to start eating between the 2s, or at least writing down your hunger scale before and after in your food journal, and just write down what you ate, how hungry you were, and how full you were. Getting accustomed to what your numbers are, getting connected. The wiring is already there. You're just training your brain. So your brain knew a long time ago how to do this. And then because we started following outside sources, we started ignoring our brain. We started ignoring the brain-body connection, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, and we started paying attention to something else. And it's almost like we have to reconnect, recalibrate our brains. And this is how we're going to do it. Creating new neural pathways, which of course are the way that we were wired to begin with. So Are you ready for the summer challenge? 3 things. How would I eat if I could eat any way I want? 2, learn your numbers, how hungry you are and how full you are by using the food journals. And 3, be kind to yourself no matter what you see. Become curious about what you're looking at instead of furious. I say it a lot. And next week, I'm going to add something to this challenge and we will move forward. But this week, I want it to be easy. I'm hoping you think, I can do this. That's pretty easy. Because even if you don't eat between the twos, you're still learning something about your body and the numbers. And I know from a lot of my clients when they first start, it's just a big guess anyway. So you will be guessing, but you will also be checking in and becoming more mindful. I think you can do it. And don't forget, if you don't have this book that I have with the journals and the hunger scales, you need to go to drdebbutler.com/change so you can get this book because that will be part of the challenge. Now, if you don't get the book and you just want to write on a piece of paper what I'm telling you, do that. Just start. Make this the day today, not tomorrow, not next week, the next meal. That in itself is a challenge to just decide, I'm going to start at the next meal. I'm going to check in. It's really the way I started way back when, because I remember my first coach that I met who introduced me to the idea of weight loss coaching. She asked the question, do you know when you're hungry and do you know when you're full? And I'll tell you what, I remember I was at a retreat and I remember that next meal doing that thing, checking in. And it was just an eye-opener to me, just to check in like that. I had never done that before. I think it's funny, but that's what I want you to do. Are you up for it? And listen, let me know how it goes for you. You can send me emails at drdeb@drdebbutler.com. I'd love to hear from you how the challenge is going. Last time I did this, I ended up interviewing some people that were doing it. So if you want to be coached on this challenge, email me. Be a great podcast as we go through this summer challenge. Okay, so that's what I've got for you today, but you know I am not going to leave you without saying to you that no matter where you go or what you do, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye. If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com/change and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebbutler.com/change. CHANGE.